Hello everyone, this is Caleb of That Samoan Guy, and I'm here to share my first impressions of the upcoming game Evolve for the PC, Xbox One, PS4. I've actually been really looking forward to this ever since I first read about it in Game Informer. Full disclosure, I am not a first-person shooter kind of guy. I appreciate them just fine in certain settings, like in parties and things like that with Halo. I can have fun with them, and I liked Specs Ops The Line and Left 4 Dead. Things that don't take themselves too terribly seriously, that aren't what you would consider hardcore, but they're just really not my cup of tea. I'm more of a fighting game guy myself, or a third-person action guy myself, so keep that grain of salt on the side as you go through this video. I also want to disclose that we are talking about a game that is not finished yet. This is not a review of a final product. I just kind of want to share real quick my impressions of the game, what I liked about it, and some of the things that could be improved upon. I initially was recording some commentary during my time playing it as I was streaming it, but I realized that as I was commentating, the people I was playing with could hear me and were not very polite about it. So I decided to do a little side commentary later on once I got the footage up. There was only one game mode available for the tech test. There was only one monster available and only one character initially made available for each of the classes. And actually, the first one I want to talk about is the support class. The support class has the ability to, support. He has the ability to project a shield of invincibility on one of his other players. He can initiate a missile strike. He has his own gun. And then he has the ability to turn invisible. This is primarily used for when one of your teammates has fallen and you go and you want to be safe while you're, helping to revive him. The issue with this is that being invisible has no benefit whatsoever because the monster tracks by smell. When you're playing as the monster, if you click the right analog stick, it gives kind of an X-ray vision of the area, what lies up ahead, where the players are, and it's actually one of the few great advantages that the monster has, to be able to know where everything is so you can plan. But because the monster therefore tracks by smell, not by sight, turning invisible has no real advantage. And plus, there's nothing to stop the monster from just hovering over the person that needs help and just Hulk smashing the ever-loving hell out of them. I don't really have any complaints with the other classes, at least, again, with my knowledge of first-person shooters. I didn't notice anything that needed a huge buff or needed to be nerfed or anything like that. I did notice, however, you have a little, helper dog to kind of run with you. Her name is Daisy. She's ridiculously fast, but she's also kind of tethered to her quote-unquote master, the character Maggie. She never will run a certain distance away from where Maggie is. So I thought that was a good way to kind of hamper Daisy's ability to track the monster, because Daisy can track the monster even through water, it seems. No matter what, she's going to find the monster. So it was a good way to kind of keep it kind of balanced. The beef of the things that I wanted to talk about revolves around the monster. The premise of the game is that it's one monster versus 4 human characters. So already, the premise alone guarantees that the monster is at a disadvantage. And inherently, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, if anything, it's challenging. And that helps it to feel more rewarding when you actually manage to pull it off and you as the monster, you get to win. The problem is that the odds are stacked so high against the monster that it almost feels unfair. In fact, I would say that it definitely feels unfair. There's a couple of little things that could easily be tweaked between now and the projected February release date. One is a serious disadvantage to one of the monster's best abilities, which is crouching, sneaking up on things. When you're crouching, you don't leave any footprints, it doesn't make any noise, and you can stealth kill things, and still, that can help you to evolve. It can sneak up on other players and things like that. But the problem with crouching and sneaking up on things is that when you go to do the stealth kill, it's not it's very easy for the monster to get clipped on the environment, and then he just doesn't go through with it. And it's incredibly frustrating, especially when dead monsters that you've killed from before, you can just pass right through. There doesn't appear to be anything just hindering you from... So why can I walk through this 40-ton carcass, but a pebble or whatever makes me trip and fall on my face as a giant monster? And that actually directly ties into the other issue that I had. It's unclear how close you have to be to initiate a stealth kill. When you go to do the stealth kill, the monster gives a little jump and he pounces. But it's not immediately apparent how close you have to be, especially when you start getting bigger and the monster blocks more of the screen. It's tougher to tell how close you really are. This is an easy fix. All you would really need to do is put some kind of an indicator to show when you're close enough to successfully initiate the kill, or maybe have your target change color or something like that. I don't know. Either way, it's a fairly simple fix that could easily be taken care of. The clipping on the environment, I feel, could also be fixed, but one of the ones that I'm not sure if they would be able to fix in time for the release is this concept of there's other indigenous life around on the map besides just the monster that the players are controlling. Most of them are smaller. They're designed for the monster to eat them and grow and evolve and get stronger and get life back. But there are a couple of them called albinos that are much bigger and much more difficult to defeat, and it's actually to the point where they're a bit stronger than the monster that the players are controlling, and that shouldn't be. The premise of the game was 4 human characters against 1 monster character, not random NPCs versus monster versus 4 human characters. I understand having a much bigger one, and when you do kill one, you manage to get buffs to your stats. You can get stronger, or your armor builds up, or your speed increases, all kinds of things. But that risk is really not worth it a lot of the time, because the human characters are so ridiculously fast, and they all travel together. They have jetpacks. There's no time to stop and kill these things. It takes up so much time, and they take out so much of your health before they go down. You're already at half or maybe even a quarter of your original health, and then the tracker or the human characters find you. So either these monsters need to be easier to take down, or they need to be not as strong as they are. Basically, just what it boils down to is the albinos need to be a little more balanced. They need to be less of a threat than they are now. Because there should be some kind of internal struggle of, well, it would be worth it to get that, to eat off of that and get the meter, but as it stands now, there is no benefit to it. Running and hiding and eating off of 5 or 6 smaller ones is a much smarter choice than the albinos. There's no point to them. You might say that the buff is worth it. The human characters can kill the albino to prevent the monster from getting that buff. That makes sense to me. That's a legitimate strategy, but as it is right now, the human characters also receive a buff when they kill the albino, and that makes no sense on 2 levels. First of all, the monster receives the buff from devouring them. What, do the human characters receive the buff from eating it? Do they take the albino monster's penis, strap it to their armor, and get 20% higher defense? Logistically, it doesn't make sense, but also, the hunters are already so ridiculously overpowered. They outnumber the monster, they're more than well equipped, they can revive each other, and their speed is absolutely ridiculous. There is no reason to give them any more of an advantage than they already have. Giving the human characters the ability to receive a buff from killing an albino is beyond ludicrous, and I don't know whose idea it was to put that in there, but it really does need to be taken out. And then probably the biggest issue that I have is the same exact one that everybody has, and that's that 5 friends cannot sit together in a party and play this game. It maxes at 4. I know that there's 4 human characters and 1 monster, but the game literally forces a random stranger from online to play as the monster. That means that you and your friends can't play or hunt each other down or anything like that. There is seriously no reason to put that in there. It was never a problem with Left 4 Dead. And that just seems absolutely bewildering to me, because that's what everyone imagined when they first saw the footage of the game go online. They imagined playing out the movie Predator with their friends online. I haven't pre-ordered the game, but if I had and then I found out that news, I honestly would cancel my pre-order, because, no pun intended, that is a huge game changer. That literally is a game changer, actually, because now you're playing a completely different game. It absolutely blows my mind that anyone thought that that would be a good idea. I realize that some people would abuse that and try and just grind online and cheat and things like that, but here's the thing, at that point, they've already bought your game. Like, what do you care? That isn't really cheating, it's not hacking the game, and people are going to find a way to grind anyway. Why would you just make that even harder? It was never a problem with Left 4 Dead. They could have had it so that the story mode is 4 people to a party and 1 stranger playing the monster, and just have it so that the unlockables are only able to be unlocked through the story mode. And then whatever you unlock, you can carry that into the multiplayer and then allow the multiplayer to have 5 friends playing together and doing whatever they want. That would still encourage playing the game properly through the story mode the way they want to. They will be rewarded for it, and then they could take that into the multiplayer. And what bums me out about this is that not only is it the biggest issue and the biggest problem with the game, but also that it's probably far too late to fix. We are less than a month away from the game coming out. They were determined to do this from the start. I really don't foresee them delaying the game any further to fix this, to cater to us. It's too late now. It's too late to backtrack the game because, like I said, from the point of this recording, we're 23 days away from the release date. It's too late to go back and fix that. That's a huge detail to fix. That's not just a balancing thing or a graphics thing. That's a system thing. That's the skeleton of the game, and it's too late to go back and fix that. So that really, like I said, it's a real game changer. It takes a lot of the fun out of it, to tell you the truth. Again, this is just the first impression. There's a lot of the modes I didn't get to play in. If it was just the same skirmish mode and that was the entire game, that was one of the initial criticisms that the game got when its concept was released. And they've announced, like, no, we've got other modes, there's going to be other things available. I can't wait to try that part out, but I don't think that's going to be in the tech test. So hopefully they get their stuff together before its release date, but honestly, because you can't play with 5 friends online, even if they took all the other things and fixed them, it still wouldn't make up for the fact that you can't play with the people that you want to. You have to play the game that they tell you to. So that's my thoughts on Evolve thus far in its current tech test form. Hopefully when the game comes out, I'll be covering it a little more in detail to see how the final version turned out. But to sum up, this is already looking to be kind of another Destiny situation. Maybe not quite that extreme, not quite to that scale, but a very similar set of disappointment where it was all just hype, and really the only people that will get the most out of it are people that play it only for the online. So hopefully, again, we'll see you guys around in February 10th when it comes out. I'll cover the game then, and we'll meet back here and we'll see how the finished product turned out. I will see you then, or I will see you at another time.